Welcome Cooking Club members. We are excited to have you here for today's webinar. I am making a delicious and healthy recipe, the green tofu stir fry with cauliflower rice. Now this dish is perfect if you're looking to incorporate more vegetables into your meals, which of course you are, while still enjoying a flavorful and satisfying dish. This stir fry features crispy tofu, a slightly sweet and spicy sauce, and an array of perfectly cooked, beautiful, and nutritious vegetables. The dish is truly green, and if you're not familiar with that, it means that it falls within the green guidelines because of the types of vegetables and ingredients used, and there is no added sugar, fat, or white flour or starch. Everything is included in the recipe, including making the cauliflower rice, which is what we are going to start with. Earlier today, I got going on washing my vegetables. Okay, we have a nice block of tofu here, and I want to cut it into cubes. You can do this any way you like to. One thing, you don't want them to be too small, so minimum is about 1 inch. I'm going to go half my block this way. This is extra firm tofu, which I really like for this type of thing because it holds together really well. Okay, so that's in half this way. Then I'm going to cut it into thirds lengthwise. And again, I want to make sure that these aren't too small because we're going to bake them in the oven with a little canola spray. And then let's do fourths this way. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to take some canola cooking spray and spray some parchment paper on a sheet pan. And then these go on the pan in a single layer. Want that nice contact with the paper and the canola spray. Okay, then we are going to give them a little sprinkle with salt. Not much, about 1/2 teaspoon total. And I always think of a good pinch as being about 1/4 teaspoon. And then we spray the tops. And in the oven they go. It is set at 425 degrees, and this is going to take about 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to put our sauce together, and I've got a 2-cup measuring cup here, and that's what I'm going to mix it in. I need 1/4 cup of tamari to start with. Let's read it on the right side. I can just pour that right into this and measure it. This is a low sodium tamari, which I prefer, and I really like it. I would be hard pressed to tell that it actually has less salt. It still has plenty of salt, I guarantee you. Okay, from there we're going to put in 4 teaspoons of sambal. So this is going to have a little heat and a little smoky flavor. And I can smell the pepperiness right now. Okay, set that aside. And then 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, also known as rice wine vinegar, same thing. There we go. And then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of white miso. Now, a lot of sauces that are similar to this would use honey or sugar to sweeten them up. I'm using white miso, which is the sweetest of the misos. Has a nice mild flavor too, and it's salty, of course. I'm using that, though, to add a little sweetness in without adding any added sugar. Because remember, this is an green recipe. So I'm going to take a little time stirring this up with a fork to make sure that this miso is actually dissolved. It'll probably take me a couple of minutes to do it, and then we'll get on to our vegetables. So I have my red onion here. I'm just going to cut both ends off. I've already peeled it. And then I'm going to cut it in half, end to end. And then I'm just going to quickly cut it into wedges. I have 2 bowls here because my vegetables are being cooked together in 2 separate bowls. There's 2 separate stages, so the ones that go together are going to go together and they can all go into the pan at one time. Just breaking these up a little bit as I go. And then the second half. My broccoli is sitting over here waiting to go in the bowl. I like the size of the florets, so we're good with that. And I'm working on my carrots. And again, these are all going to be stir-fried together, so I put them in the same bowl just to save on using too many bowls and to make sure I got them in the right place. Okay, so there's that. That's 3 carrots. And they are peeled. I washed them and then peeled them. And then let's put those broccoli florets in. Okay, great. Now I'm going to set this back here because this is where I'm going to be stir frying. And let's deal with the next little round. So I finished most of my snow peas. What I'm doing with these is just pulling the little tail off and then pulling the stem end and pulling the string down the side. Let's get all of these into our bowl. Our zucchini is going to go in here next. And again, I pull that little tail off and then snap the stem end. And then this one is already gone, so we're all set with that. All right, next, zucchini. Could use a summer squash if you wanted to, a yellow summer squash if you can get one, or a yellow zucchini is fine too. And what we're going to do with this is cut this into half moons. I like to get it into a manageable size. So I cut this in half lengthwise and then about 1/4 inch moons. Just like that. And now our ginger. So I keep my ginger in the freezer unless I'm going to use it within a couple of days. I hate throwing it away. And I love it when it's frozen because it grates really easily and it chops really easily. It's a little bit on the squishy size, but I assure you the flavor is great. So it's a nice way to use it up, keep it on hand. And sometimes, you know, you buy it and you have to buy more than you need just because you don't use that much at a time. So this is a really nice way to just preserve it. And I always get it into the freezer within a couple of days. So it's releasing a lot of kind of gingery juice. And it calls for a 1-inch piece. Of course, you never know exactly how thick your ginger is going to be, so that's an arbitrary thing. But I would say you can err on more ginger as opposed to less ginger. So I'm slicing it up like this just to get it going, and then I'm going to put it in my mezzaluna and really mince it up. You could also grate it if you wanted to, but I just kind of wanted a little bit of that, a little chunkiness from the ginger, a little bit of pieces. But a mezzaluna is a great way to chop this up. It's pretty fibrous, so you have to work at it for a while, but it will chop up, and I'm going to end up with, it looks like almost 2 tablespoons. Now I'm just going to try and break up the onions. This one I may have to pull out, but I'll get them broken up as I'm going along here. And I'm going to stir fry this for about 3 minutes. This has been 3 minutes. You can see that the color's coming up. My onions are broken apart. In go my snow peas and my zucchini. Give that just a little bit of a stir. Get them incorporated, and then I'm going to add my miso mixture right into this. And then I'm going to stir that really, I'm going to continue stir frying until these vegetables are where I want them. And it's probably not going to be more than 1 minute. Right, this has been about a minute, and in goes all of that lovely ginger that we prepared. 1 more minute of cooking, and then this comes off of the heat. Right, so I wiped this pan out, and I'm heating it again over medium-high heat. Here's my cauliflower rice. You can hear that sizzling a little bit. That's great. Now, how long you cook this is up to you. You can go anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes, whatever you want to do. I just don't like it to get mushy, so I usually go for 1 to 2 minutes. And I'll just keep stirring it until it's exactly how I like it. Here's my new finding about cauliflower rice. By the time it's all hot, it's done. So you just keep stir frying until it's heated through, and then it's pretty much perfect. Sometimes it'll brown a little bit. It did not so much today, but that's great. And I took my tofu and added it into the mix and stirred it up to coat it with some of the sauce. The sauce is great because it's light. It has enough cling to it, but it's not overwhelming in any way. And of course, you can always serve this with a side of tamari if you wanted to. So let me see if I can actually get this plated here. Trying to grab a little sauce from the bottom. Get some broccoli. A little more tofu. Look at all that color. It smells great, and boy, can I smell that ginger. Love that. Okay, maybe a little bit more. A little more zucchini. Perfect. And there it is. That is beautiful. It is light, it is healthy, it's full of vegetables. Tofu is so good for you. I really hope you enjoy making this green recipe, and it is tofu stir fry with cauliflower rice. Take care.